Okay, so, hi everybody, I'm Don. I'm on this side of the thing. Yeah. And this is Pablo. Pablo is on our Salt Scrum developer team, and he'll be doing the guts of this prezo. I'm here as the prezo babe, because I do prezos a lot, and I'm a native English speaker, so Pablo's a native Salt speaker. So people are using Ansible out there, and you are some of them. Ansible is owned by a certain company whose color is different from ours. They seem to be pushing it very hard. And so if you encounter that, or you are one of those people, you will probably see some, right? So your infrastructure then gets defined. If you've been an Ansible shop for a while, you have lots of playbooks, and you spend a lot of time and effort investing in that and making it good. And of course, security audit occurs on those things. Ansible modules and playbooks are all over the places. I thought we caught all of those. I thought we fixed all those. You must not have saved it, dude. Serious. So anyway, Ansible is in a lot of places. It has some benefit in that it does not have its own client. So theoretically, the implementation has lower impact on the end nodes. But the consequence is I've got to SSH into all those boxes, and that means I've got to open a new session each time I want to take an action, and SSH has to be present. And it tends to not scale well in terms of speed and throughput in that process. So, but there's a lot of it out there because it does allow you to automate so many different things. But Ansible always has challenges, like because I have to open a new session each time, I'm not doing real-time monitoring. So I can't really have triggers happen on the end nodes that tell me anything, so I don't have any orchestration that's based on an event that occurs on my end nodes. And scalability, of course. When you have to keep opening new TCP ports on the Ansible host, that ends up to be challenging, and time, it gets slower as you scale out bigger and bigger, and you end up looking like this sad emoji here. But Salt enables you to look really cool, and most of the people in Canary Islands have to wear sunglasses because the sun is very powerful there. So you'll notice that all the green things here are what we're helping to bring today. Real-time monitoring in the Salt world is done with beacons, and you'll actually get to see one. And you'll get to orchestrate things that are based on events that occurred with a tool called reactors. This again is Salt. And scalability, because it has its own integrated message base with 0MQ, and Syndic is an intermaster tool. So all of these cool Salt things are there, and if you've already used Salt, you know about all of that, in addition to the kind of YAML files that he was complaining about earlier that help to define your infrastructure or architecture. So now you've got these two different contrasting and potentially competing tools. What happens in the real world of IT when we try to bring them together? We have a problem. Your infrastructure, you've already spent a bunch of time creating Ansible playbooks, or you have them in one area of your company, and the other area of your company is working on Salt things. Yeah, and now you're like stuck in the middle trying to say, how do I marry this? You've already invested the effort in building all that stuff, And this is one of the principal things that SUSE has tried to do in our management portfolio, is not force you to throw away your administrative investment, because we know how many hours it takes to build out a really great Ansible playbook environment where you've set it. For example, SUSE OpenStack Cloud, we merged with HPE's Helion project, and all of their deployment mechanism, the Cloud Lifecycle Manager, is built on Ansible playbooks. So yeah, so we understand this at SUSE. We understand the Ansible part, right? They're everywhere, and they're not all over the places. They're fixed on this slide. So now I've got divided ways, and how am I going to do this? Migration. I want to inject the coolness of Salt. I have Ansible, but I don't want to throw it away until now. Oh! Don't panic. Call Pablo.
Okay. Whoa.
Sorry.
Okay. So don't panic. So what would happen if we could simply consider the whole Ansible functionality, well, the whole Ansible as a set of the functionality that Salt is providing to you? That's what this new feature, the ansiblegate module, is actually bringing you. So cooking Ansible with a little Salt. So this is a new module which is included in Fluorine, the next release of Salt, newer one. It's an innovation that's coming from SUSE, which basically allows you to execute Ansible from within Salt, and not only executing Ansible modules, but also apply your playbooks using Salt. The Salt Fluorine release is going to be available on SLS 15 and SLS 15 as a base system. It's already in OpenSUSE, and of course you can get the package from our OBS, where it's built in SaltStack product.
And it will be in SUSE Manager 4, right?
Yes, it will be the default version of Salt in SUSE Manager 4.0, which is currently beta, right? In case that you want to get packages, this Fluorine package for RHEL or CentOS, of course you can get it from the official SaltStack repository, but you can also get it from here, because this one is the...
Pablo's helped to make them,
Yeah.
and that makes it better.
That one is our SUSE Fluorine package, which is based on the upstream Fluorine, but it passes all our hardening process to make it stable. There has some patches on top of the release and so on. So if you are going to use it, you will probably do it from there. Good. So how does this ansiblegate work? There are a few ways of working, but so the first one is we have this infrastructure. This is an Ansible infrastructure. We have here few systems that are managed by Ansible. This is our Ansible control node. Connections are made via SSH. So the first thing this allows is if we install Salt here in the Ansible controller, that will enable us to manage your Ansible from Salt. That means that we can call Ansible to execute modules, apply those playbooks, but in a Salt way. And another cool stuff that it's allowed is to reuse the Ansible inventory that you already have with all your groupings and all your host definition. So we can reuse that inventory to use Salt SSH, target those groups, and execute Salt commands inside those Ansible managed nodes by reusing the Ansible inventory. These are a few examples how you can run this. This is without any Salt master, so you can do Salt local calls and see the Ansible modules available. You can get the help from these modules, and you can actually execute those modules. These are Ansible modules, passing some data and so on. And in case that we have Salt master, it's the same. So as usual, sol, our node, and then we call Ansible that and the module of Ansible that we want to install. For example, we can do something like that. Ansible packaging or zipper name iotop state install. So we are passing here Ansible stuff through a sol command. It will the sol
He's laughing.
the sol is going to publish into the serial queue bus to the action that will be catched from this Ansible node, and then this Ansible node is going to execute whatever Ansible module passes there. And but last but not least, we are able actually to apply playbooks. So we can make a sol call to this Ansible node and say, okay, I want to apply this playbook here. Good. Then, of course, if we have this sol master and then we put also sol minions in our Ansible managed system, we still have the way of communication from Ansible, to apply playbooks and so on, but we also have here the ability of real-time monitoring and even driven orchestration, because these are also beacons, so we can react, we can trigger events that are going to go to the master, and then we can set reactor on the master. We will do some demo of this later and you will see clearly. So at the end, with this schema here, we will able to manage our current Ansible infrastructure plus adding the whole menu functionality to those previously only Ansible managed system. So they can coexist at the same time.
And you didn't show step 3 when you take Ansible away altogether.
That will be later. So this is an example of how we can reuse. This is an Ansible inventory. I have some posts, some grouping here and so on. So I can use sol SSH, passing this roster Ansible and passing the roster file directly to the sol SSH, and then I can use the grouping of Ansible defined on those inventories, and I can run sol command directly.
Wow.
Okay?
So, I mean, it looks like a line of code, but that's like really cool.
Yeah. It's a simple one, right? But it's doing a lot of stuff inside. So, yeah, how to smoothly migrate from Ansible to sol. So this is what we, this is the most common Ansible scenario we have, what we face from customer. They have some infrastructure, they have only Ansible here, and they have they run modules, and they have the playbooks, and that's it. So what's the step 0? So let's try to add
step 0. Only a developer starts with step 0. Really?
So let's add some grains of salt.
Okay.
First step is, okay, let's just install, as I told you before, the Ansible there in our Ansible controller. Then, from now on, we are still able to manage our Ansible like always, but we are also able to start executing sol commands there, okay, on those managed system.
So at that point, the end nodes don't know anything, right?
No. So in this case, the end nodes are still Ansible. They don't have minion installed. They are like they have been so far. We only put sol here in the controller. Okay. Step 1. Okay, so it's
now we're going to make it tasty.
Yeah. So
I don't.
So okay, here we have. Let me just here I can see it. So what we have here is that we still have our previous Ansible managed infrastructure when we have the Ansible modules, the playbook, and we now can reuse the Ansible inventory to call sol SSH command on those machines. But at the same time, since sol seems to be tasty and so on, we start adding this sol master piece here, which will allow now to run and execute the playbooks as a normal sol command that we trigger from our sol master to the Ansible node saying that apply this playbook. We can also apply and running the playbooks inside SLS files. So we can have a state on our Sol master that at some point makes some call to apply playbooks here.
Does everybody know what an SLS file is? Yes, maybe. Yeah, somebody might.
So in the Sol world, you define your state like, okay, I want to have those packages installed and so on. So you define this state in what Sol called SLS files. So the idea here is that you are not only restricted to apply the playbook as a imperative command, like a remote execution when I say, okay, apply those playbook, but I can also make the playbook to be applied as part of a more complex state file.
And you can mix in other Sol
Sure.
things in that SLS also, right?
Exactly. Then my infrastructure starts to grow on the Sol side. I start playing with Sol. I have some minions. I start doing stuff here, and I have event-driven orchestration on a hybrid environment. Here we still have all our Sol stuff. We have all our playbooks here, but I now have some new system that are only managed with Sol, this new stuff. But we can have all our infrastructure and manage all our infrastructure from a single Sol master here. We have this hybrid environment here. So the next step will be
spread the Sol all over the places.
I mean, even as this is not right.
Hey, come on.
Okay, so yeah, this will be like the final step, or
This is where it gets the final step that you show.
yeah, you can figure out the next one.
Yeah, the next one is up to you, where
That is-
Ansible
yeah,
crawls out the back door.
But the idea here on this talk is that we can actually have an infrastructure where Ansible and Sol can coexist. And we can operate from a single place. We don't have completely isolated environment, but we can mix them. And the difference here, if you see, is that I put the Sol minion on the previous only Ansible managed system. And this is very cool because this will allow, okay, I keep using my playbooks, but since I have minion here, I'm enabled real-time monitoring and event driver orchestrations on those systems that were before only Ansible managed and they don't trigger events and so on. So basically I'm bringing the whole minion functionality to those all only Ansible managed system. I will do a demo of this to see how the real-time monitoring and the event orchestration work on an environment like this. So, demo
Now
time.
it's demo time.
Let's see what happens now. You know, like demos.
This one's gonna work, not like mine yesterday. Yeah, Patrick and I were in a session yesterday, and the many hours that we spent didn't translate as directly as we might have hoped. What are you doing here? Oh, the hell!
I need to
Look at that.
clone my.
Whoa! Can you make the font a little bigger?
Let's start with this one.
Yeah.
The font maybe I should increase a little bit.
Yes, it's okay.
It's good enough?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. So what I have here is just a single Sol cluster where I only have this minion here, and this minion, which is on the right side, is actually an Ansible node. So the first thing I can try to do is list the modules that are available there. Ansible modules. These are the Ansible.
Whoa.
You see, there are.
Windows. Why is there Windows?
Yeah.
Ansible can manage Windows, right?
Okay.
So would you put Salt Minion on a Windows node that's managed by Ansible?
Can
You
you
could
do
do
that?
this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So we can have this.
Amazing, huh?
help, which basically we can pass whatever Ansible module, and it will give you the help. You can ask for what are the options for this particular module. We have a data parameter, so let's try to execute that one. It's system ping, and it accepts a parameter.
Hello from Salt.
So here what we made is we actually published the job on the Salt event bus. This job is catch from the minion, and the minion execute the Ansible module system ping and return the output via the Salt event bus through the Salt master. Good. We can, for example, also let's see this package zipper. This one, for example. Again, I'm calling zipper here with this package. IO top. I want to be present. Okay, that happened when you have internet connection, right? But at least it tried to, you see, this is the output from the Ansible execution of these zipper modules, and we have actually the warning because we cannot access
the internet to get your repository to get the package, and
Try removing something.
Huh?
you could remove something, can't you? Yeah, remove RPM. That's a good one.
No, but I can actually say I want it absent, and it says okay, it's absent.
Wow.
Change false. It wasn't there already, so no changes. Okay, cool. Next thing we can do is, I told you we have the ability of, that's one. So this is a simple state in Salt. I call it my Ansible state, and I said Ansible call system ping. So I can apply that one, state apply, test Ansible. And you have the response to the state application where we actually execute an Ansible module, the system ping, and we get the response on the structure of the state application in Salt.
But wait, there's more.
Okay.
Wow.
This is a different environment, okay? In this case, I have here, these two panes here, my Salt master. This is the Salt event bus. And this one is my Ansible controller, and this one is a CentOS system that is managed by Ansible.
Wow, so we can talk to CentOS even,
Sure.
huh?
So let me show you what we have here.
It's cool.
Literally my use case.
So I have here this. Well, I didn't do any here before. I want to try it here. I don't think I have it in the other. Okay, so I have this playbook here. Let me show you first the Ansible inventory I have here on my Ansible node. I have some host definitions, some grouping, some parameter, okay? And I have this playbook. It's an Ansible playbook. It's targeting the Pi2 host, and it's basically telling HTTPD to be present, and it's also copying some files to
where Red Hat stores its web server stuff, var
Exactly.
www HTML. Right?
Okay, so
If you're not a Red Hat person, you're used to SRV www htdocs, but not everyone chooses to put it there.
I think only SUSE chooses to put it there.
Stop.
So I can apply the playbook like Ansible does normally, like this. It's basically this is Ansible working like always. Connect.
And see how slow that was? That was terrible.
But I can also
Sorry.
Ansible playbooks. Playbook is root.
And this guy is not using history. He's like typing.
He's actually
this.
typing it. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah. In front of all of you, where.
Sometimes I do reverse search.
Yeah.
So here we are calling, we are making a sole local call on the Ansible controller saying that we want to apply this playbook. So it's the same that I made via Ansible, but now using sole. Oh, I have the debug. But
You turn on debug so you just see all those and look at the output. That's a salt output.
This is a sole output. You see all
Very nice.
the facts that
Oh,
were
that's a
there.
lot of information.
And you have there, but you have at the end the summary. This action changed false because HTTPD was already installed. And then, well, the declaration was already installed. And then I sync the files. And I see that my. What is that?
Somebody's trying to call you.
So I did 3 OKs, like the output we saw before. Let's make this.
Failure 0. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start here. I have already installed a minion. I haven't used minion yet, but. Okay.
Yeah, so the salt minion is installed already. So the software is there, but the service hasn't been started yet.
Just
Right?
like this, right? Okay, I have the message from the minion there. Let's see if I can do a simple.
Yeah, I asked Pablo, how come you didn't use systemctl space?
I was just wondering why he typed RC salt minion because that's
Because
not the thing.
I'm used to do that.
He's used to doing that in a different environment. So old habits die hard. I still type all of my HPUX options
Oh,
to my commands, which is scary.
So we applied the playbook, and this playbook basically said.
Look at this HTML skill. Look at that. Hi.
You want to
This
see the
is
code?
web server that has been set up via Ansible.
This is fun.
You know, this really is, it makes me feel good because that's about the height of my HTML skills. I'm not doing it to criticize, it just helps me to feel better that I'm not the only one who doesn't know how to code web pages.
Okay, so I have the minion, and I have set some pillar data for these sentence minions, and I assign this beacon pillar, which basically has where I'm enabling the innotify beacon to monitor this path where the HTML files are stored in the Ansible managed system.
And if you've not used Salt before, a pillar is a server-based secure information store that I assign to a minion.
Exactly.
Right.
So this set this configuration for the minion. So these minions, when this minion, in case that I do some change there, is going to fire an event saying that something happened. Oh, something has changed. I think the microphone just.
Oh,
It's alright.
it is attacking you.
It's all right.
Too much emotions.
Pablo's very animated.
Okay. So we have the beacon set that is making the salt minion installed on this CentOS to fire some events in case that there is something changed on these HTML pages. And what I have also said is I set here in my master configuration as set a reactor. And I set a reactor that reacts to that particular
It's
beacon
going
event.
partly off the side of the page there, Chief. It's hard to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might not make it full screen and then just pull it back a little bit. Oh, some people are better than others.
Show off.
Okay, so basically I'm setting enable a reactor here on the master where I'm reactoring to this notify beacon, and when the master gets this event, it will trigger this state here, which will reapply the playbook to restore.
So we're
those
using
HTML.
salt to detect a change and then calling an Ansible playbook to fix it, right?
That's it. Exactly.
And if I was just using Ansible, I would have no idea that somebody had altered that massively great HTML code and just played down
They
there.
might have added a picture.
They might have actually put graphical things into it, but that's poison.
So I don't think let's put this up. So this is my state file, my reactor state file, where I'm saying, okay, I want to run Ansible playbooks on this host and reapply this Apache CentOS playbook. So the idea here, let's try to see if it works. Once I change something in that each HTML page that has been deployed by Ansible playbook, once I change something there, there will be an event file here, and then the master is going to react to that event by calling the Ansible node to reapply the playbook, which will restore the HTML pages.
So here we go. Yeah, so you're gonna make a change.
I have the logs from the Ansible.
This is from Ansible
controller,
Okay.
and this is my mania here. So
Question.
Yes.
So I will put something into this file, and we should see something happening just here in the event pass.
Yeah, so the only thing you're doing is injecting text into that file, right?
Because the notify beacon is going to detect a change, it's going to fire the event, then the reactor is going to react to that event, publishing the job for the Ansible node control to reapply the playbooks, and at the end we will get the results from the playbook application here.
So you're
And the
gonna
file will
like
be
take
restored.
over your website and just put X's in there, right?
Yeah, so let's see what happens.
Okay,
I
so you
put
put it
it-
in there.
We have to wait like
What does the web server look like?
Too late.
Oh, too late, it's already fixed.
is there?
There,
Is this
and-
applying? So the cool part here is that we have enabled real-time monitoring, and we are reacting to those events, and we keep the Ansible there in our infrastructure. So we are like bringing this real-time monitoring and event-driven orchestration to our still Ansible managed system. And of course, we can have this infrastructure coexisting with our new and growing Salt infrastructure that we are also starting to build up. So yeah, I'm not sure how.
Now you're ready for question and answer.
I think we are ready for questions. It was actually not quite a long session, but
It was entertaining.
So I hope you get the idea. Huh?
Most exciting presentation ever.
Really?
Exactly. So I hope you get the idea of what this Ansible gate
And see what questions
enables
they
you to
have.
do.
Yeah. Ask them what questions they have.
And of course, if you have questions.
Yeah.
Question for Don, to come back in your talk. Are you using this now in Salt 9?
In Cloud 9? No, not yet. I know I set you up for
I
this
was gonna ask
question,
it
so, yeah, so the question was, since we have Ansible playbooks in the Cloud Lifecycle Manager, are we saltifying them?
We should.
The answer is we probably should.
You should be salting them.
Secondarily, and this is a good question, secondarily, I want to point out something that Pablo didn't mention, that we have a Salt Scrum team at SUSE. So we have a separately organized subset of our developers who are specifically working on SALT things across the portfolio. And part of that is because we want consistency in our delivery. So we don't want you to run SALT in SUSE Enterprise Storage and have it be a different version than you're running on SLS or in SUSE Manager. So these guys do very good work in terms of their hardening, as he's mentioned before, of the versioning for SALT. If you watch SALT, if you go to SALT Stack, you'll see that it changes very rapidly. We deliver, the goal target is to deliver 2 measured versions per year into the portfolio. And those are, again, centrally managed by the SALT Scrum team. The head of the SALT Scrum team is Bo, right? How do you say his last name? I never say it right. Marinuk, yeah. He's from the Ukraine, and he's a very funny person, but he can't travel to the US right now. He doesn't have all the travel permissions. But he's a hilarious guy. He's also the #1 contributor to SaltStack outside of SaltStack employees. So he was recognized last year as the top contributor to SALT. So we have a significant investment in terms of making SALT be successful. And at the same time, because we're SUSE and we care about customers that have Ansible and other things, we're not going to go tell you to make it all go away. So,
But you should.
But you should. It was in your eyes.
well,
I said it.
you know, all things are possible, only believe. That's a song, but it's true also, right? Yeah. So Ansible is out there, and there's some useful things that have been done with Ansible YAML, but this helps you to inject SALT in a way that it doesn't necessarily make you go tell the people to get rid of all their Ansible. You can actually make use of it, so it's great. Any other questions? Yes.
So I saw when you were doing your demo, you were passing on the playbook YAMLs as a path and stuff. So 2 things. In one of my particular Ansible deployments, I pass an inventory file specifically to override the usage of the default host file.
Okay.
And does that work? And second, does the playbooks files need to exist on the target system for it to function, or can they be stored only on the master? Because it seems like, because most of the time when people are using Ansible, they're using it remotely, but can they use them either locally or remotely when plugged in with SALT?
Okay, there you go. Pablo, you get
So
to answer this.
from this Ansible playbook function accepts a few parameters apart from the playbook itself, and you can define another, if I remember correctly, you can also pass the inventory you have. Instead of using the default one in ATC Ansible host, you can pass a different one, right?
Okay.
And the location of the playbook files. The playbook files should be located in the Ansible node. So you have normally, because when I have the sole master, right? Let me just go back.
Get the picture. Get off of this wacky web server, man. It's crazy.
Okay, here. For example, here.
Yeah, there you go.
I have a sole master, and when I call salt and I call my Ansible node to apply the playbook, this path I pass to as a playbook parameter is a path here. Okay. So this is my normal Ansible controller. It has the inventory and it also has the playbooks here.
Okay. So if I have, so then that means that this would be more compatible with places where, I won't name products specifically, but like some of the ones that I've been using, they install all the playbook files as a package onto the target system, and then they can be executed that way. So I can leverage that with this architecture.
Thanks, good question, yes.
We use AWS plugin to do all Ansible work. So how can we integrate this piece with AWS? We didn't use warehouse, we use open source.
I mean, you want to integrate this with AWS?
Yeah.
There is no problem. I mean, If you just install,
Because AWS running inside the Docker container, they automatically spin out on the back end. It's all container based.
In containers?
Yeah, they scale, auto-scale the container base. So job is automatically load balance on the back end. We have no idea which container running which job. We can install this on all their containers.
Oh, so like you're dynamically executing and provisioning
Well,
environments that way?
there's a front end, right? And then when I execute the job, they will go to the back end and say, okay, I say doing patch 5,000 server in one shot. They automatically spin out all the container, spell all the container on the back end, spell all the workload. We have no idea which container took the job on us.
Okay, that feels like that whole model would be replaced by this, because that's more like making the Ansible run on things. But I don't understand what.
we can maybe talk later.
I'm actually just curious about the
Yeah, yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But you can install, I mean, you can make containers run salt minions. We've been doing it with the CAS platform has heavily used salt minions inside of containers. So if those containers are already salt minions, I mean, and obviously you can use that in your container build infrastructure, right? So certainly you can.
So another thing that you're talking about that brought this to my mind. One of the other things that I was interested in doing is using, so I mentioned the Ansible playbook thing, but like using them to make the initial setup of making an appliance, then maybe having it so that the minion could make the desired state of the appliance keep going forward. So could I like bootstrap an environment that way, and then have the minion make sure the playbook gets continually applied correctly after the fact?
Right,
Or
with
does the
beacon.
initial state have to be, does the initial state have to be executed by the salt minion for it to know anything?
I don't think so, no. Do you understand what he's
Not
asking?
Well, okay, so.
I can see it here.
Okay, so I'm making an image, either it's a Docker container or it's a virtual machine image. And the provision process is done with running an Ansible playbook as part of the bootstrap of the image before it's saved. And so it can be instantiated randomly by people pressing buttons. But if I add the salt minion to that with, then when it first boots that it connects to the master, does it need to have, when it's doing the image build, does it need to do it, run this Ansible to be able to understand the state? Or can it just kind of pick this stuff afterwards?
No, it's event driven, right? So I'm not based on presence prior to that.
Okay.
So if the event causes the change, I can invoke via state or via a module apply either a salt thing or an Ansible playbook. So I can go either one, and it doesn't have to be started that way. Like Pablo said, you can do this migration until you get to the place where Ansible is a smaller part of your portfolio.
Okay. I actually have another question. A few years back, we studied the salt, and we got starting by different products, and they also use salt. So we have conflicts during the configuration file. So we ban them because we can't deploy it. So when you use salt here, if we decide to revisit the subject again, how we can work it out with our team if they decide also to stop? Because product won't be utilize salt. The other thing we use for our IT department, how this piece we can work it out a solution.
So you're talking about a situation where you already have salt masters and a
Yeah,
salt
yeah.
infrastructure, and how do you inject a new salt master into that and
That's the
become
reason we
successful?
move away from Poppy. We have, I don't know how many Poppy masters out there. Eventually they abandon all the Poppy, move to Ansible, so nobody have anything already.
Yeah, and Pinocchio became a real boy, just to let you know. When you... Sorry, that was irrelevant. Okay, so salt multi-master. Silvio, do you want to answer that one?
Well, one solution is always you can have more than one salt minion process running. So it is possible to configure minions so that each minion, you can have any number of salt minion processes running on a box or in a container. So
How can you
You can,
control?
of course, you have to use different TCP ports.
Right, you're using different ports at that
Yeah,
point
use
to
different
talk to
ports,
the different
But
masters.
you can specify different SLS routes, different pillar routes, different configuration file. So in principle, at least, you can have more than one salt medium process with only one package installed. That's not a problem. Of course, then it's up to you to make sure that whatever states you apply,
Don't
on the
fight
two-
with each other.
exactly,
right?
so step
Yeah.
each other's goals. So if you want to manage different aspects like packages and repos and configuration files, and you make sure that each one of those gets their own chunk, then this can be done. There's also a possibility to configure the minion to have more than one master, but I think that is only for fallback reasons. Like, okay, the first master is not available, I'll use the second. It's not like the minion can obey two masters. This is not contemplated. I'm not sure if there's.
What about Syndic?
That doesn't change the picture very much.
Yeah.
Because it's only for redundancy and high availability. It's not really to be able to control the minion from two different points at the same time. So it's okay if at different points in time you have different masters. It's not
We have demonstrated at SaltConf, and I've been a keynote presenter at SaltConf for the last 3 Salt conferences. We did a demonstration this last year of SUSE Manager integrated into SaltStack Enterprise. So if you've been a customer of SaltStack for a while, you've heard them talking to you about SaltStack Enterprise, which is a proprietary answer, another bus above the level of master, where the masters are joined into that bus and centrally coordinated through SaltStack Enterprise. So we don't sell that. SaltStack is here as a vendor. If you want to talk to them, you can. But certainly you could potentially use SaltStack Enterprise to coordinate lots of masters. In fact, at SaltConf, we used the SaltStack Enterprise to accept the salt keys from minions that were trying to join SUSE Manager. So it has a more awareness of multiple masters in that kind of universe. That SUSE doesn't specifically answer that question, but SaltStack can with Enterprise. Again, it's a proprietary tool, so it's not my kind of open. Whoa!
Outside voice.
Yeah, outside voice. Stop. Yes?
So if I would find a really amazing Ansible role, I could theoretically also use this to install Ansible on all those salt minions and run that locally, so I have a scalable Ansible setup.
Yeah, you could in fact use this to propagate Ansible all over the world.
You sound so sad at the
Like many things, this does not prevent stupid, it just propagates it, right? You have now ruined your life. Congratulations, you have all power. Anything's possible, right?
I mean, we're the enabler.
It can be used to do evil.
Yes, this is a force for good. It's designed to be a force for good. Please don't take it otherwise.
From my perspective, it's true that one of the main weaknesses of Ansible compared to Salt is the triggering mechanism. The fact that you have to open an SSH connection, this doesn't scale. With this solution, we use Salt's triggering mechanism, which is much more efficient. So, yes, congratulations, you've removed one of the main pain points. It's not the only one. So, with Salt, you have a bi-directional channel. So you can get events from the medium, right? And you don't get that with Ansible, even with this trick. You're not going to cover that. And the same goes if you want to get into reactors, into orchestrators, into many other advanced Salt features not really talked about today, they will all still be missing. So, yeah, you can do anything, it's true. From an architectural point of view, it only makes sense to a point that needs to be personal. Hope that answers.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Silvio is on our SUSE manager team. He heads up the scalability focus point for all of our SUSE manager development. So he's dealt with thousands and thousands of minions on a single master many times.
He was also way more diplomatic than you about that.
Diplomacy is not Don's strong.
I'm gonna tell you what I think. Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you so much for your attentive participation today. And if you have more questions, feel free to email Pablo.